13 years, we brought you some of India's hottest entrepreneurial stories. For 13 years, we've made it our mission to support India's entrepreneurial ecosystem. For 13 years, Young Turks has been the definitive one-stop for all things entrepreneurial. Hello and welcome to a brand new season of Young Turks as we turn 13. Thanks very much for staying on with us on the show and for supporting the cause of entrepreneurship in India. I'm Shireen Bhan and we've got plenty of action lined up for you. On the Big League, we focus on ventures that are pegged to become India's next billion-dollar companies. Let's start with 36-year-old Rajiv Goel's story. Now, in 2006, Rajiv co-founded Pubmatic, a software product online publisher for news and entertainment websites, e-commerce portals, and small and medium businesses to help them better manage and monetize their ad inventory. Headquartered in Redwood, California, but with the majority of its engineering team in Pune, Pubmatic is one of the fastest growing ad tech startups globally, with valuation cited at close to $1 billion if it were to IPO this year. Let's take a look at Rajiv's entrepreneurial journey. A certified mixologist with a triple major in economics, political science and Spanish, Rajiv Goel co-founded his first venture in Silicon Valley along with his brother Amar Goel while he was still getting these degrees from the Johns Hopkins University. Their first venture together back in 1997 was an online customized golfing equipment company called ChipShot.
We, I think, went through all the mythological phases of a Silicon Valley company, right? So dorm room to my parents' garage, and then initial office space and subsequent expansions from there. So my role was to run product management and engineering, which was eventually a 50-60 person operation to build out the consumer web-facing or consumer-facing web product, where people could come online, find the right product, customize it, and purchase it. And that took a tremendous amount of scale as we grew that business to over 30 million in revenue run rate in just two to 3 years.
And despite raising over $50 million in funding from Sequoia Capital, ChipShot, like a lot of internet companies, went down with a 2000 dot-com bust. Rajiv put himself through a master's in computer technology and spent the next 5 years teaching himself how large corporations work. First with a consulting firm and then as a product marketing executive at SAP until it was time to start up again in 2006. So Rajiv joined hands with brother Amar and two software engineers Mukul Kumar and Anand Das in India to bring a new product company to life, Pubmatic.
I think one of the most challenging is when, out of the gate, you're bringing a new solution to market. People don't understand the opportunity, the long-term vision around that solution. So if you think about the personal computer as a good example of that, then there are a lot of, I think, detractors or naysayers or doubters out there in the market. I think the same was true for us at Pubmatic, where we were the first to build a optimization platform for publishers to help them improve the ad experience for their consumers, drive increased revenue, and improve operational efficiency. And so that is going to be a messy process, and the V1 is never going to be good enough. You could probably spend 10 years trying to build the perfect V1 and still not get it right. And so you have to put something out there quickly and get feedback on it and then iterate it from there. And so that never really deters me, because I think you've got, again, it goes back to building a business over the long run. If you have that focus in mind, then all of the rest of it is just kind of noise along the way.
And it has played out that way. Even today, there are actually very few businesses on the publisher side versus hundreds servicing the advertiser side of the ecosystem. Pubmatic has emerged as the leader of the pack and has since even rejected takeover bids from the likes of Yahoo a couple of times. Also this time around, Rajiv's raised $76 million from the absolute A-class of investors, but hasn't forgotten the tough lessons his first entrepreneurial stint taught him about fundraising.
So at Pubmatic, we haven't been, I think, shy about raising capital, but we've done it at very different stages in the company's life cycle. So we've raised a little over $60 million in the history of the company, which is slightly, just slightly more than what we raised at ChipShot. But here we've achieved, many multiples of scale in terms of revenue, customer base, transaction volume, all of those types of things. So I think here it makes sense in that context. But we've absolutely have been much more capital efficient and are among the most capital efficient of companies in the ad technology arena.
One of the contributing factors perhaps is that vis-a-vis competitors that are based in North America, Pubmatic right from the beginning made Pune its technology headquarters. In June this year, Pubmatic inaugurated its biggest engineering division in Pune that will take the headcount up to 600 people in a few years' time. Meanwhile, sales teams in the US, Europe, Australia and Japan have been aggressively growing the business, which has recorded over 100% growth year on year for the last few years.
We can build a very long-lasting, sustainable business. And that's, of course, what we're here to do, which is to build a business that can last multiple decades and be...
And managing this rapid growth and building the organization has thrown unexpected challenges Rajiv's way.
There's a constant balance between data-driven decision-making and then, I think, being comfortable with ambiguity. So I'm a very data-driven person, so I will consume large amounts of data on a daily basis in order to just understand what's happening and make as informed a decision as possible. But I think one of the things that consulting taught me was that you've got to be very comfortable in areas of ambiguity, which I think then leads to my using instinct at the appropriate places.
A data-driven manager but an intuitive leader, Rajiv's deep immersion in technology for close to 2 decades makes him believe that as technology gets more complex and surreal, what will really drive the business engine for any tech company will be its human touch.
That's particularly true in the enterprise software space, where you're working on complex challenges, complex problems, and you've got clients that may be out of their element in solving some of these problems, and so they need a very sophisticated level of help in order to do that. And what we've seen at Pubmatic is the industry has gone through an evolution of what I call do it for me starting point to now a do it with me period. And now as this has become a much more significant revenue stream for them, and they want to understand it much better, they've started to bring in-house the right people to manage this. And so we've had to transition ourselves into working with our clients to deliver the outcome as opposed to delivering the end outcome directly for them. And so that means we've got to build software in a different way. We've got to design the product, design the user interface, the experience in a very different way so that our clients can ultimately get more out of being their own end users of the product.
With plans to set up a consulting service to do exactly this, Pubmatic is reportedly set to IPO this year. An entrepreneur's journey can be a lonely one, but if your mission resonates with your team, then it's a battle half won. The Pubmatic story is only one of the 13 inspiring tech startup stories that we will feature on the Young Turks book that will be published later this year. So over the next few weeks, we bring you more such inspiring stories. Keep watching. Now, the big news item this week was Flipkart's billion-dollar fundraising. The amount is the single largest round raised by any Indian internet company and is amongst the largest in a single funding round globally as well, putting the e-commerce portal in the league of companies like Facebook and Uber, whose funding rounds have equaled or surpassed $1 billion. So we caught up with Sachin and Binny Bansal, both young Turks, in Bangalore post the announcement, and here's what they had to tell us about their plans for the future.
Investors are finding a great team at Flipkart, which has proven that they can execute, and they are also looking at the market size.
Sure.
Market size is expected to be really big, and the internet is right now at an inflection point, and that is attracting a lot of investors to Flipkart. So from an expansion point of view, we are looking to get everything on board. We are opening our platform for all kinds of sellers. Sellers are now, I mean, we have a few categories that are still not there, like furniture and stuff. I think that's something that it's only about time that we'll probably have everything.
This fiscal?
It's only about time. Very soon we'll have a lot of things on our platform.
Well, the market is big enough for the Bansals to get to the $100 billion mark. The question is whether it is going to be profitable growth. We wish them the very best of luck as they take on global giant Amazon, whose announcement of a $2 billion incremental investment in India has clearly drawn up the lines for an interesting David-Goliath battle. It is now time for us to take another break, but coming up, two entrepreneurs who let you furnish your dream home with the click of a button.